All right, let's talk about something that affects pretty much all of us, our identity online. It's a huge challenge, right? Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating new approach called UIUD, which is trying to solve a very specific problem: how to prove your age without giving up your privacy. But before we get into all the tech, let's just frame the problem. Think about it. How do you prove you're old enough for a service or an app without, uploading a photo of your passport or your driver's license? Without giving away your full name, your address, your exact date of birth to yet another company? And that question, it leads us straight into what you could call the online identity dilemma. It really puts a spotlight on the tough choices that app developers and honestly all of us have to make all the time. For app developers, it's this kinda impossible choice. On the one hand, they could build their own system to verify age, but that is incredibly expensive, super complex, and turns them into a giant target for hackers. It's a huge liability. On the other hand, they could just do nothing, but then they risk breaking rules, and way more importantly, they fail to protect kids online. It's a real no-win situation. So if those are the only options, we clearly need a third way, right? This brings us to a new kind of idea: UID. It's positioned as a neutral gateway. So try not to think of it as another app you have to download, but more like a new piece of digital plumbing, designed to solve this one complex problem really, really well. So what do we even mean by a neutral gateway? Well, the key here is that it's a universal go-between. It acts like a secure translator between the app that needs to check your age and the official, say, government system that actually holds your identity. And its whole job is to manage that conversation while keeping your personal data under lock and key. Okay, so how does it actually work in the real world? The process is beautifully simple. Step 1, an app asks UID, hey, is this user over 18? Step 2, UID securely checks with the official source, like an EU digital wallet. And then step 3, UID sends back just one piece of info to the app: a simple, cryptographically secure yes or no. That's it. And this is the magic right here. It's all about something called data minimization. The app gets the only thing it actually needs: proof that you meet the age requirement, and absolutely nothing more. It never sees your name, it never sees your birthday, it for sure never sees your address. None of that sensitive stuff ever gets shared. Now, all of this leads to a massive, massive benefit for us, the users. And that brings us to our next section: verify once, use everywhere. This is all about ending that totally frustrating and frankly risky cycle of scanning and uploading your ID for every single new service you want to try. This is the dream, right? The entire idea is to go through this whole annoying verification thing just once, one single time. So the way it works is you'd link your official ID, like the new EU digital identity wallet, to your UIID just that one time. From that point on, your verified age status becomes a permanent, secure little tag on your account, ready to be used instantly anywhere you need it. And the benefits here are just so clear. You finally stop spreading digital copies of your passport all over the internet. The system also uses some clever encryption to stop someone from stealing your identity and making fake accounts. And it means that signing up for a new app that needs your age becomes seamless, totally instant. Okay, so you might be thinking, this sounds great, but how is it actually secure? That is the right question to ask, and it takes us right here: security through anonymity. The whole trick, the core insight, is how UID protects your data by designing a system that, well, doesn't really hold it in the first place. This quote gets right to the heart of the technology, and it sounds kind of like a magic trick, doesn't it? The ability to prove something is true without showing any of the secret data that makes it true. This is all made possible by this field of modern cryptography called zero-knowledge proofs. Now, that's a mouthful, but the concept is pretty simple. It's like proving you know the secret password to a clubhouse without ever saying the password out loud. You're just proving a fact that you're over 18 without ever showing the proof, which is your actual ID. And when you put the old way next to this new way, the difference is it's night and day. The old system forced apps to collect and store copies of your ID, creating this giant, tempting treasure chest for hackers. The risk of a leak was huge. With the UID system, the App Store is nothing sensitive, so there's no central pot of gold for hackers to steal. The risk just plummets. So for our last section, let's zoom out a bit and just think about the big picture. What could an approach like this really mean for the future of privacy and, for the internet itself? This vision it's really powerful. It's about building a bridge between two worlds we usually think of as totally separate. You've got the rock-solid security of a state-verified ID on one side and the freedom and privacy of an anonymous internet on the other. This aims to connect them. And this whole big vision is captured in their slogan, which is simple, but also really ambitious: identity without compromise. It's this powerful idea that you shouldn't have to choose. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your privacy just to prove who you are online. And so this leaves us with a really provocative question to think about. If we can actually separate the act of proving something from the sharing of our data, are we standing on the edge of a grand new era for digital identity? An era where we don't have to make that compromise anymore?